Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we have a special episode, and basically it's all about our new project, and I'm pretty pumped about this. I don't think I get as excited about things, maybe, I'm not going to say as I should, but it's just I'm kind of even keel with different things that we do. This one's kind of got me jazzed up. I kind of like this, just not only because of what we're offering through it, but what we can offer. I like the idea of what the platform can do for us as we move forward. Don't you?
I do. I assume that you were talking to me and not hypothetically to the people who you haven't told what the project is.
Right. I realize that, but it's yeah, I'm talking to you.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm also very excited about all aspects of it.
I'm talking to them too. Maybe I'm creating intrigue. We'll go there. We'll say that.
Okay.
So without further ado, what it is Patreon. So the idea basically is that we're going to provide exclusive content like video content, live Q&As, regular Q&As, all kinds of stuff right off the bat, because we've got this platform that we can host it on. And it also opens up the future to offering all kinds of other exclusive content. And it's cool because, like I said, not only can we do cool stuff now, but the future is open to doing all kinds of other neat stuff. And it really adds that personal touch. You know, I think that's a big part of it. It's that, you know, you get a glimpse of the of who we are more, I think.
Right. Yeah, definitely. People are definitely getting a glimpse of who you are, and just to give you guys a little idea of the things that you can see on Patreon and find on Patreon. Number one, the podcasts that you know and love, hopefully, Life Lessons and Laughter.
You better love it.
So Life Lessons and Laughter and What's Right with the World are both going to be released early. They already have been released early. So every Friday, when there's a week of Life Lessons and Laughter coming up, and every Friday period, the new What's Right with the World comes out 5 days early. And on a week with Life Lessons and Laughter, that new episode comes out about 2 days early. And also Glenn's blog, Mindful Mondays, that comes out early. So all of that stuff is posted on Fridays.
Right. So you got the whole weekend to look it over and listen to it and take it in, at your convenience.
Absolutely. Glenn also has started to post some, I guess you could call them vlogs, little backstage behind the scenes videos. There's a video on there of him preparing for his new Insight Timer course that he's recording, and some of the work that goes into that, and then some personal stuff, like going to his kid's soccer game on a Saturday and all of that stuff. So he's really opening up his life and sharing a little bit of that stuff with you guys, in addition to video versions of the shows. So, if you always wanted to see what it looks like when we record now, because we're not in person anymore, unfortunately. But now you can see what it's like when, you can see Glenn talk, you can see how fired up he gets about these subjects and how passionate he is. And, you can see just the goofy looks in our eyes when we look at each other, not knowing what's coming next.
Yes, exactly.
So all of that stuff. Yeah.
People usually get, one thing that I hear a lot is people get surprised when they find out we don't really edit the show. So I think they're going to get, really be able to wrap your brain around how the information flows and how it works and how authentic it really is. When we do the show, when you're watching us at the same time as listening, I think it's really going to come across in a whole new way and a lot more personal. So
definitely. So that's the big draw, I guess. Basically, is some exclusive content, and there's going to be Q&As. You can send it in. It's very interactive. So basically, the Patreon has an app, and even though you can use it on the desktop site or the mobile site. Basically, it's like Facebook, but you're in an exclusive club with the people who you patronize. So you can send us messages. You can post stuff yourself on there that you want us to see. You can suggest things for episodes. You can give us feedback on stuff, and nobody else will see it except for, the people that are in this little group. And the people who are looking at the same content that you are, and all of that stuff. So you can send us messages and we'll reply, or Glenn will reply. I'm sure not that many people are interested in hearing what I have to say. But
you'd be surprised. I get those comments, especially on Insight Timer. I think people are going to be just as psyched to see who you are as they are to see who I am. People ask me about you all the time.
Yeah, mostly about how is it possible that he has a cold 52 weeks a year?
Well, sometimes that, but other stuff too. They feel like they're getting to know you, but they've seen my picture,
right?
Or sometimes they've met me on Skype if I'm working with them one-on-one and stuff. But with you, most of them hadn't seen you up until this point. So they're really curious, because people always tell me, they go, I've got a vision of Ben in my head. And sometimes people have described to you and I'm like, yeah, he's nothing like that.
Yeah,
so no.
Definitely. I have, that happens to me all the time. I have people that I listen to on podcasts, and I have a clear vision of what they look like in my head. And then I actually see them on a video and I'm like, that is not, and then it freaks you out for a minute. Because you're like, that's not who that person is.
Yeah.
That happened to me yesterday. I was watching a video of somebody who I usually only listen to. And I knew that my image in my head was not what they look like, and I still couldn't get it out of my head when I was watching them.
Yeah.
So pay no attention to the man behind the microphone is what I'm saying.
It takes a little while to get used to, but I think it's fun. It's kind of a neat little thing to experience. But yeah, it's a lot more personal, a lot more interactive, and to do all this stuff, not only what we're doing, we needed a new platform. And really, what's the point of what I'm doing? The point of what I'm doing is to try to get the message of hope and happiness and fulfillment that we all deserve out to more and more people, and help wherever I can. And, if I can do that in a more personal way, if you can connect to me in a more personal way, then I think that's going to enhance that. And so therefore it can enhance your personal growth and all that stuff, because you're connecting more on a deeper level. So that's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect is, quite frankly, money is just energy. So we need to put energy towards stuff for it to expand. Right now, money is one of the forms of energy that we use to expand things. So for us to do all this stuff, it takes equipment, it takes stuff. So it's really supporting the message, not only so you personally get a message that connects to you better, but it also helps us expand the message, put it out more places, put it out in more ways to reach more people. And then we're living in a happier world, and I mean, and I know I'm not the only one doing this. So it's like Eckhart Tolle doing that webcast with Oprah Winfrey 10 years ago now. That was 10 years ago, and it was the biggest webcast in history. That takes energy to produce and put out there. And that's but it reaches millions and millions and millions of people. And that's what we need to keep doing, is putting energy towards whatever you connect with that is a good message. So not only can you continue accessing it, but it can spread and expand and reach more people. And then, and that's how we change the world, one person at a time.
And I just want to talk about the podcast and, or, you know, the podcasts, this, because there's multiple now, and everything. But in 5 months, we will have been doing this show for 5 years, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That I just looked at that.
There's so much free content out there.
There's so much free content that's going to always remain free.
Right.
So the content's always going to remain free. If you can't be a patron, you can't do it. That's totally fine.
That's fine. You still have access to all the information, which is the most important thing, is getting it out there. So it's out there. Now we just want to start putting it out there in more creative and interactive ways, which is
so. When I say that this podcast has been a labor of love, I mean it. This show has existed for 5 years. With no sponsors,
yes.
Nothing. So, the fact that, Glenn, you have so many followers now, through different platforms and, 100,000 listeners and all of that stuff is crazy. And, one of the only ways to expand that, further is unfortunately, or maybe not unfortunately, maybe that's the wrong terms, but to put a little bit, to put more into it and to expand it more, I don't want to say unfortunately, takes a little bit of a more financial aspect to it. And, we don't want to charge people for the show, obviously, and we don't want to necessarily get any sponsor for the show who, you wouldn't be fully behind the messages that you have and the content and all of that stuff. It's
if we ever did get a sponsor, they'd definitely have to be on board. But
yeah, it'd have to be the right, the complete right fit and all of that stuff. And it's just. But people have always asked, what's a good way to support the show? And we didn't really have one. We did not really have a
right, and that's what's so cool about this. And it's and I think that's really a great point. That we are going to continue to put out this show, and it is going to continue to be for free. We're not, it's not money first. It's get the message out first. Get the message out first. So the message is out. It's going to continue to be put out, and it's going to continue to be free. The patron stuff is just little optional ways for those who can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't worry about it. You still get the message for free. But if you can, and you're in a place that you can support it. And by the way, the tiers we have start at $5 a month. We're not talking huge things here, but you can support the show for $5 a month. You can support the show for $15 a month, for $25 a month. That's it. And have access to all this stuff. That's the tiers that we're starting at now. So it's not like it's a huge, financial commitment, but for $25 a month, you get access to a life coach. You get access to live Q&As, other Q&As, like you were saying, feedback on the site, video, podcast, and like the whole, you get a whole gamut of stuff. And that's what as we're trying to figure out what to offer, I was really like, at first it's like, oh, well, okay, well, what do we offer? What do we offer? And then we kept talking about it, and we got to the point where it was like, it started getting me excited. I was like, oh, wow, they get all that for $15 a month. And I stopped right then, and I told you, I go, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Because I could feel the shift in energy, because before it was just like, oh, what can we give these people for a certain amount of money? But once we got to the point where we really started getting some good things that were exciting and worthwhile, and it was like, then it wasn't about the money anymore. It was about what can we give them? And that was the main thing. That's when everything fell right into place for us.
Absolutely.
And it was like, yeah, this is where these tiers should be.
And there's so much more that we'd like to do, and that we've, kicked around, and we have ideas for and stuff that just, they take money and planning and time and stuff that having a successful Patreon page would allow us to do and to expand. And we would love to expand, the Great Love Project into doing more good for more people. And we would love to expand this podcast, and we would love to expand the What's Right with the World brand and get more people involved in that. So the more you guys can share the shows, tell your friends about it, help out with the Patreon page. And the Patreon page, by the way, the tiers are set, they're $5, $15, and $25. But Patreon also allows you to give a custom pledge of whatever you want.
They do they do like one-time pledges as well?
I believe that they do one-time pledges as well. But we have, somebody on there who just gave an in-between amount of money because that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to give under, if you could give under $5, I think that the lowest amount that you can choose to do is $1. I don't know how much of the tier of the exclusive content you get, but you would definitely get the behind the scenes videos. Those are always posted as just patrons only. So, I don't think that you would get the podcast early and stuff because I think that that's marked off at the lowest tier. But anything, if you guys give anything, then you'll get something out of it, which is great, and that's the point of it. And it's a great thank you for supporting the show. And that's really what we wanted to do. We wanted to give people that love the show and love Glenn more content and more access to him, and in turn help the show and help the brand and help Glenn spread everything that he's been doing. So thank you guys very much for all of that from me, and I'm done talking about it for now.
Yes, and thank you from me as well. So it's exciting that it's been almost 5 years, and it's the time is right for this. That's what I kept feeling as we're putting it together. It's like all the I'm also putting together courses and, all the stuff we're heading in direction is just really putting stuff out there so people can access it whenever they want at a very low cost, as much as possible, while still holding true to the putting out the information for free on other levels. So, we're trying to meet everybody where they are. If you can afford to support the show and want to support it and help get the message out and get more exclusive access through that channel, then phenomenal, great, we appreciate it. If you can't afford to right now, that's not where you are, or that's not what you're into, that's fine too. Continue listening to podcasts, and we're just meeting you where you are. Whatever you can do, great. If that's just can continue listening and working on yourself, that's really the most important thing, is finding the happiness, because as each person gets happier and more fulfilled, then they become a beacon of light for the next person and the next person and the next person. And your friends start lighting off of you, and your family starts lighting off of you, or you change the way a coworker looks at something. And that's how the world changes. So that's always been the main priority and will remain so. And this is just an exciting new way to play around with new stuff and get it out there in new ways and make it more personal.
And finally, I'd like to dangle a little bit of a carrot. And Glenn's probably going to not like this. There may be, after at least 3 years of prodding, there may be a Glenn Ambrose book coming out in the works in 2019. And you may get a ton of exclusive content of him writing that book.
Maybe.
Sign up for Patreon. Maybe. Which I think
I'm
is
sure, I'm sure there will be a book coming.
I think is really intriguing. I want to see somebody go through the process of writing a book, because I sure as hell read enough of them, So I think that watching that journey would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially sometimes I tell people I was telling a client a little while ago about my process for putting together a course for Insight Timer. And they were like, they were blown away because they could see very clearly that I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I started doing it. It was like, because I hadn't done it before. So I had put together workshops and stuff, but like I had never put together a structured 10-part course and stuff like that. So I walked them through my mindset on how I did it. And they're like, oh, like, so like you just chopped it right down. Like when I'm overwhelmed, I just chop things into smaller pieces, and I do this one simple little thing that I can do at that time, and then it turns into something, you know. And I think that's something that a lot of people could benefit from, seeing that, because again, they'll look at some of the stuff that I put out and go, oh wow, Glenn's able to do this, Glenn's able to do that, and they think like I have it all together. It's like, no, man, you should see the process that I go through. It's ugly. It's like, like there's no, you know, I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm completely dumbfounded, completely. And then all of a sudden you know, all right, let's start here. And then something builds off of it. So that type of insight, I think is helpful, because it's real life stuff because everybody feels overwhelmed about stuff. So, and they don't know where to begin and all that stuff, you know? So, you know, that's the type of stuff that you really get the inside scoop on and see how things work. So yeah, I guess that was a good thing to bring up.
Yeah. And we'll have videos, you know, about, Glenn and I have a weekly meeting where we talk about the podcast and we talk about all sorts of stuff. So like we'll put a little snippet of that stuff on there, or, you know, I guess I'll put some stuff about like researching the what's right with the world, and, you know,
yeah, that stuff. And you get to see my dog. You get to see Faith.
I'm excited to see Faith. I miss Faith already.
She's a sweetheart.
She really is. So that's it. We did not intend to go this long,
but we did.
And it's
this is a bonus episode, so we can kind of do whatever we want.
Absolutely.
And plus, it's kind of my podcast, so I guess I can kind of do whatever I want.
I agree. Although I think that you should check with the producer first.
The producers are easygoing. They're fine. They go with the flow well. That's why we've been doing it for almost 5 years.
Your producers are.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody. All right. So that's it.
Thanks for listening. And go check out patreon.com/Glenn Ambrose, and, you know, give me some feedback, some ideas for new tiers and whatever, you know. And if you can support us, great. If you can't, and you'd like to just share the Patreon link with people in your social media circles or your friends, that'd be great as well. Whatever you can do, if you feel moved to do so. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we will talk at you soon.
Glenn is available for life coaching sessions. To book an appointment or for more information, go to glennambrose.com, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, or click the link in the description of this episode.